Hi, my name is Amy Schulz, and I am on the faculty at the School of Public Health. My research focuses on the joint influences of multiple environmental factors as they influence health equity. So things like looking at the food environment, physical activity environment, air quality, how do those jointly and synergistically contribute to health inequities. My work is conducted in collaboration with, primarily with Detroit residents using a participatory research approach. I'm really delighted to introduce the next speaker, John Vandermeer, who is the Asa Gray Distinguished Professor of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology and the Arthur F. Thurnow Professor. Dr. Vandermeer's research focuses on nonlinear dynamic systems, the role of biodiversity in agroecosystems, and socio-political as well as ecological forces in debates about biodiversity conservation. In addition to his many scholarly contributions, I want to call out his long history as an activist. He was an active participant in the anti-Vietnam War movement on this campus. He was a founding member of the Ann Arbor chapter of Scientists for Peace and is an active participant in the environmental movement. His favorite food, you might have to revisit this after some of the presentations today, is chuleta cancan, which I understand is a Puerto Rican version, a Puerto Rican style pork chop. Dr. Vandermeer's talk is entitled The Hurricanes of Puerto Rico. Please join me in welcoming him.
Okay. In 1898, the U.S. invaded Puerto Rico and instituted a classical colonial structure, including all the paternalism and racism so evident in this worldwide European-led disaster. In 1917, U.S. citizenship was imposed on all Puerto Ricans, who thus immediately became subject to military draft, leading to the uncomfortable fact that proportionally more Puerto Ricans have died in U.S. wars than any other ethnic or cultural group. As part of its war against Cuba, U.S. investment in Puerto Rico promoted manufacturing. Structural benefits to farmers elsewhere made local food production non-competitive. Consequently, food for the cities, where the new working class lived, increasingly became supplied by U.S. and other foreign farmers. Today, over 80% of the food in Puerto Rico is imported, and the diversified farming system in the Central Mountains is simply referred to as the coffee sector. Regardless, our research has shown that these coffee farms to this day remain diversified systems. The difference is that the immense amount of food that is produced on them is either consumed by the farming family or left in the field to rot due to lack of infrastructure to commercialize it. Dependent capitalist development of Puerto Rico has been uneven. Having declared them citizens, the U.S. is unable to build a wall to keep Puerto Ricans from migrating to the United States. This has been a benefit to the capitalist class on the island, in that the U.S. provides an escape valve for disenchanted workers who otherwise might be compelled to make a revolution. And it has certainly worked. More than half of the people who identify as Puerto Ricans currently live in the U.S. However, even that was not sufficient. Increasing debt forced the local government to take out ever more loans, which underperformed dramatically, providing convenient targets for the hedge fund guys, and currently the economic situation has become a crisis. The U.S. thus set up a commission to figure out how to sell pretty much everything on the island so that the hedge fund guys could get paid. The commission is known by its Spanish acronym PROMESA, which ironically means promise in Spanish. PROMESA is reviled by all Puerto Ricans I have ever talked to. The landfall of Maria was bringing things to a head. People without food or water for days, without electricity for months, seeing other U.S. citizens in Texas receive a comparatively enormous aid package, and realizing that their U.S. citizenship was more important to Tio Sam when soldiers were needed for cannon fodder than when citizens were hurting. Pride of nationhood begins growing as the Puerto Rican people become more and more enraged at Uncle Sam's racism and immorality. And then Trump throws paper towels at them. Even Trump's paper towels were trumped by the Puerto Rican governor's disdain for his own people, as revealed in leaked chats that he was having with his Trump-like buddies. Demonstrations emerged in San Juan to demand his resignation. The final demonstration saw a reported 1 million people, a third of the entire population, swarm the streets of San Juan. Today, joyous celebration lines the streets of San Juan where I shot this video. The governor had resigned under the popular pressure of what some are now calling the Puerto Rican summer, in memory of the Arab Spring. As part of this new metaphorical storm, a new wave of agriculture is emerging. Inspired by the World Agroecological Movement, the organization Boricua is composed of small-scale farmers, many new to the trade. The National Model Forest of Puerto Rico is currently combining principles of conservation with agriculture. In this expansive area, there are an estimated 4,000 farmers, many of whom are coffee farmers, producing both coffee and food crops. Currently, farmers living in the forest are generating eco-development projects based on maintaining the farming sector within this high-quality forest matrix. Hurricane Maria convinced many people in Puerto Rico that renewable energy was not only an option, but a necessity for the country. The community organizing center known as Casa Pueblo has long advocated solar power in the city of Adjuntas. Last summer saw the March of the Sun, where people from all over the country descended on Adjuntas to advocate for the solarization of Puerto Rico's energy supply. And finally, combining agriculture, conservation, and energy, a project to produce energy from agricultural waste and return that waste to agriculture in the form of biochar is currently underway, with initial testing on coffee farms in the Central Mountains and on the facilities of Casa Pueblo. Thank you.